In today's video, we're going to be taking another look at Ethereum to the US dollar. I'll give you my predictions of where I think Ethereum is headed, both in the short term and in the long term. I'll also tell you what trades I'm currently making in the crypto market, whether it's on Ethereum or something else. I'll let you know what I'm currently doing. So if you're interested in cryptocurrencies, in buying or shorting Ethereum, or looking for your first opportunity to enter the crypto market, then this is the right video for you. So stay tuned till the end. And by the way, if you like this content, don't be afraid to click that like and subscribe buttons below. It lets YouTube know that you like it, so they suggest similar content, and it helps support me a ton, so I really appreciate it. So let's dive right in. Now, if you've been watching some of my previous content, I actually posted an Ethereum price prediction about 3 weeks ago or so. At that point in time, Ethereum was around $1,800, and I told you that I thought we were in this overall structure that kind of had one more short leg upwards here, and then a final leg downwards to finish price action around $1,400 as our bottom on Ethereum long term. And I was predicting prices much higher than that afterwards. All of this is through something called Elliott Wave Theory, and if you don't yet know what it is, you should check out some of my previous videos, or if you really want to learn it in depth, check out my 10-part playlist on Elliott Wave Theory, where I go into depth for multiple hours teaching you all the rules and guidelines of it. So now I'm switching back over to the live chart right here. So when I posted that video, we were somewhere around right here, at the bottom right here, and I did predict that we were going to go upwards towards this $2,100 or $2,200 price target to kind of finish this fourth wave in green right here. Now real quick, just in case you don't know anything about Elliott Wave Theory, basically I'm looking for these green 5-wave structures to finish twice from our peak. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we have a bit of a retracement of that, or a move that goes counter trend. So if our trend of this green wave right here is downtrend, this move goes back upwards. It puts in some of that price action backwards before we continue downwards. And then I'm looking for one more green 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 downwards. Now originally I had this green 5th wave at the $1,400 price target based on the fact that I thought the 4 was going to come in somewhere around this price area. Now I did get it correct that we were going to move upwards from that $1,800 right around when I filmed it down here. However, we ended up actually going much higher than I had originally expected. So now it looks like we need to change our count a bit because our 4th wave can't just come into here like this. It would now overlap the 1 because we'd have to pull our 4th wave all the way up to this top pivot into here. And this overlap is fine, but in Elliott Wave Theory, this is actually known as something called a diagonal. Basically, when we have this 5-wave structure downwards, almost always the 1 and the 4 don't overlap in price territory. So the 4 does retrace upwards, but it never goes into this price territory of this 1 right here. So it can simply draw a box in this 1 wave, and if I pull that sideways, you can see the 4 definitely comes into this price territory that this 1 wave occupies. So when this happens, it's called a diagonal, and there are other rules that we need to satisfy. Now, I do believe that I have the overall correct count so far, so I do still think this is a 5-wave structure. We've got this triangle A, B, C, D, E that we have right here, and we still are working on this 5th wave downwards, but we need to adapt our count just a little bit to make up the difference here. So when we have this diagonal where the 4 and the 1 overlap, it actually means that we need to split each of the waves into an A, B, C themselves. So whereas with a normal 5-wave structure like this, our 1, our 3, and our 5 actually have 5 waves inside of them. So in Elliott Wave Theory, all waves divide into subwaves. And this happens on lower and lower and lower degrees as well as the higher degrees as well. So all of these waves are also forming waves at degrees higher than them. So if you were to zoom out onto higher time frames, they're forming different waves also. So in a diagonal, the 1, the 3, and the 5 no longer subdivide into 5 waves, and now they're just 3-wave structures. So let's change up our count a little bit to make that actually valid. Now the first thing here is that this actually makes a lot more sense in hindsight here. Before I had this 1 wave right here, and then I had our 2 wave as this expanded flat right here. An expanded flat basically means that this forms an ABC structure that looks something like this, but the B comes below the start of the A right here. This is only valid in a flat structure, and it's called an expanded flat, but it's actually pretty rare to have in a 2-wave. Now back when I had the original count on it, I thought it was the best possibility at that point in time, but now that we do get this overlap, I think we can adapt this to even be a higher probability in this 1-2 right here. And that's by moving this one wave down a pivot into here. So now I think it's actually pretty clear that this one wave forms an A, B, C into there, just like that. We have a 3-wave one wave, which is perfect. We get the retracement upwards for the 2-wave, and then we have this 3-wave downwards. Now this is a little bit of a problem in here because this whole move is decently sharp. However, the one thing I am seeing is this kind of retracement right in through here. So I think the best way to label this 3-wave would be to have this whole move down as our A, this be our B wave retracement, and then our C wave finishes down here. And I'm going to take the wave off this ABC just so we can see it a bit clearer, and I think this does look and still make sense. In the A wave here, we'd want to have a 5-wave structure that subdivides it because, like I said, waves are made up of other waves, and I actually think it's pretty clear to find 5 waves into here. I think we've got a clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there, and of course I would need to turn that degree downwards, and I would normally change the color, but I'm going to take this off of my chart after showing it. I just want to show that there's definitely a clear 5-wave structure inside of this A right here. So that validates the A wave. The B wave is our retracement. We would have hoped it not to be this steep as our B wave, but that's what we're working with right now. It's also possible that our A wave could be one pivot earlier into here, and we could have some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into this, or maybe there's other ways to count this as a 5-wave structure, and that would leave our B wave as an expanded flat, so an A, B, C, where once again, the B comes below the start of the A into here. Either way you count this, I think you can definitely make this be an A, B, C into here, where this is definitely a sharp move downwards from our B high into here, and we can definitely call that a C without diving in on too low of a time frame into here. So a couple different options of counting that as an A, B, C, but overall, I think we can definitely do it. So both our 1 and our 3 have ABCs inside of them. Let's move forward. Now this 4th wave would have been pretty tricky to count, but at this point we've already retraced so much of it that I think we can just go with this being a retracement of the move so far. There are probably a couple different ways we could count an ABC in our 4th wave right now, but I think I like this being our A, this being our B, and then this whole move up being our C. And again, I think we can count this C wave in multiple different ways as well, getting a 5-wave structure out of it. It could be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a diagonal into here. So I'll show you what that would look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is an ending diagonal here. There are other rules to follow, but they definitely are valid. Basically, if you were to draw trend lines from this 2 to this 4 into here, and this 1 to this 3 into here, we can see that the lines of this diagonal are converging towards each other. And that means that the main rule this diagonal must follow is that the 1 wave is the longest wave, and that is pretty clear. The 3rd wave is the second longest wave, and the 5th wave is the shortest wave. And just by eyeballing it, I can see that the 3rd wave is definitely longer than this 5th wave into here, and of course the 1 wave is the longest of those 3. So this diagonal is valid. We can definitely make up an ABC into this 4th wave right here. So now where does that leave us? Let's just think about that once again here. We have this 5-wave structure from our top, and we have this triangle correction into here. On a more zoomed out scale, what we're actually forming is an A, B, and a C into here. So it's a 5 triangle 5, which is basically just a zigzag on a larger structure. So what that means is that the last thing that we need to complete here is this green 5th wave, and then on a larger degree, we should finish this C wave into here. And let me turn up the degree on the C wave because it is a degree higher than the degree 5 wave into here. I'll change the color so it's a bit more clear. And so now this green 5-wave structure would finish our pink C into here, which would finish an overall ABC from our top, finishing the 4th wave on a larger degree. Now, of course, the macro degree of Ethereum isn't fully set on this being a 4th wave, and actually, I might have it as a 2-wave instead, where this whole move is a 1-wave, this is a 2-wave, but anyways, that's something we can come back to in the future once we do end up getting this bottom. We're either forming a white 4 here or a white 2, depending on how you look at this overall structure. So the more important part here, let's finish this green 5th wave so that our correction on Ethereum can finally end. Where is that actually going to be? Now, one of the things we want to do is validate the depth of this 4 wave, and we'll also use that same Fibonacci retracement to predict where the 5th wave is going to land. Now in a diagonal, I like to pull a Fibonacci retracement from the top of our 1 up here to the bottom of our third wave, and then just pull this sideways onto the chart, still clicking at the bottom of our third wave into there. Now if you don't know anything about Fibonacci retracements, basically all these are percentage moves backwards from where you're pulling. So we have price action that goes all the way from here down to here, and these are my 2 clicks of the Fibonacci retracement. And then as we start to scale back upwards on the Fibonacci retracement, if we come to, for example, this red line, which is labeled as the 0.5, it's the halfway point, or a 50% retracement of this entire first yellow arrow. So this is the midway point between the top up here and the bottom down here. Now in a diagonal, one of the very common spots for that fourth wave to actually come is this golden zone right here, between the 0.618 and the 0.65, or a 61.8 to a 65% retracement of this entire move. And you can see we actually come to that almost perfectly here. I bet if we get these perfectly on here, it actually is to the penny to this 618 golden level right here. Now, of course, that's no coincidence at all. There are algorithms that are shorting the market right when we come to this spot, and it's absolutely perfect here. Now, when this happens and we come to a perfect golden zone, my target for the fifth wave is this green line right down here. Now, this green line is the negative 0.236 Fibonacci retracement. Now, I just told you that with this Fibonacci retracement, it's basically just percentage moves that we retrace of this whole move downwards. So this is a 50% retracement. This purple line right here is the 0.236, or it's a 23.6% retracement of this move. In other words, we put back 23.6% of the entire length downwards, upwards to this purple line. The negative 0.236 is the exact same distance as this positive value, but just flipped on the other side of the zero right here. So if we take this distance and we just put it below right here, you can see it comes perfectly onto that green line. It's the same exact thing, but backwards. And this is my main target for when something bounces off a golden zone to the downside like this. Now we've been eyeing this 1410 target on Ethereum for a while, and this green line actually comes perfectly in line with it. Now, of course, we're about $20 off, but it's definitely close enough to the target into here. So I'm going to put a small green box into there, and this is going to be my prediction of where the fifth wave comes as of now. We can take the Fib retracement off of our chart. We'll take this arrow off of our chart because we already know that that's where we're headed, and let's just zoom out and see how this looks. Now, in a zigzag, there are some relations we can look for between the A and the C wave into here. Typically, these waves relate either by a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-0.618 or a 1-to-1.272 ratio. They follow one of those formats, and you'll see all those on my Fibonacci extension. Now, a Fibonacci extension basically measures the relative length of moves to each other. I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to click it at the top all the way up here and at the bottom all the way down here, basically capturing the length of our A wave in my mouse right now. Now the next place that I click is going to be our ratio of that A wave to whatever I click to. So if I click to the top of our B wave into here, which is right through here, and I'm going to drag my mouse sideways but keep it at the top of the B wave into there. Now if we were to come down to this pink line right here, it would mean that our A and our move from our B high all the way through here down to this pink line right here are exactly equal in value. And you can see that if I put a yellow arrow and then I put it at the top where I just clicked, now you can see that yellow arrow comes to that pink 1.0. And that's because that's exactly what the tool is doing. Now I told you that some of the common ratios are this 1-to-1 or this 1-to-0.618, which I have as my golden line, or sometimes into this zone down here, this 1.272 to 1.414. Now, of course, we can immediately eliminate these because they're in the negative price values for Ethereum, and even this 1-to-1 puts Ethereum all the way down at $190, which is not really too realistic, at least how we're looking right now. That leaves us with the best option right here at this 0.618, which is a price target around 1210 or so on Ethereum. So I'm going to expand my box just to include that one as well, just to build confluence into this box. So if we start to push past the original top target that we have right here, maybe we do make it down to the bottom of the box before we reverse, or somewhere in the middle. One of the other things I'm going to do is measure the relationship from the 1 wave to where our 5 wave would land. These tend to correlate by those same Fibonacci values on my extension here. So let's put that onto our chart. I'll measure the length of the 1 by clicking at the top and the bottom of it and put it at our 4th wave into here. Now there are a whole bunch of different options for this one, but it's awesome to see that the 1.618 to 1.75, which is definitely a common spot for this ratio, also falls into our box right here. We'll pull this up by about $20 or so to include that. It gives us a little bit of extra confluence into this zone. Now, of course, we've got all these other zones, so this one into here or maybe all the way up here, but I do like this box building more confluence so far. So overall, I think this box is a pretty good target. The last thing we're looking for is this 5 wave to actually form an ABC structure. And as of now, there are probably quite a few different options of how this could go. The main one that I see off the top of my head is that we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're working on the 5, which would finish our larger A wave into here. We'd get a retracement upward for the B wave, and then we'd come down and put in the C wave, something like this, into the box. So one more leg down in the short term, a retracement, and then one more final leg to finish our correction here. I think it's also possible that we've already formed the A and the B of this structure, with this sharp move down here being the A, this sideways price action being the B, and now we're working on that C wave downwards. If this is the case, we probably already have the 1, 2 of this C wave, and now we'd be expecting another sharp move downwards for that 3rd wave, a 4th wave that pulls upwards like this, and a 5th wave that finally finishes like this. Because I like this better as a B wave into this price action rather than a 2 wave, because B waves and 4 waves tend to look sideways like this, I'll leave this as my primary count right now. So just to summarize, from our green 4 up to here, I think we have our pink A in, our pink B, and we're working on that pink C here to finish the overall green 5 wave here, which would finish the larger ABC, finishing the larger 4 or 2 wave. So as of now, that's my prediction on Ethereum. Now, one last note I want to leave you with is that if you do get a chance to buy at these price targets down here, and our count does finish exactly like we think, then this is an awesome spot to get into cryptocurrency or to buy more if you don't already have some. Even if we just pull this box sideways, you can see this is a huge zone of support and resistance where lots of price action happened all through the beginning of 2021 into here, and where we had awesome support in February 2021 through here. So if you do get the chance to buy from here, that would be my highest recommendation, because if we do form a 1-2 or if it's a 3-4, whatever it is, Ethereum will definitely be headed towards new all-time highs afterwards, and we'll easily see price targets upwards of $5,000 or more. Now once we have that bottom, I'll make a stronger prediction of where I think Ethereum is actually headed. So if you want to hear my prediction as that gets updated, make sure you do click that subscribe button below so you can stay tuned on my predictions. Now, one last thing to leave you with, if you want to trade with me and have ideas floated by me and other people and ask me questions directly every single day, I have a link to my free Discord in the description below. Every single feature about it is free, and it will be free forever just for this community, so feel free to click that link and join us. And of course, if you liked that video, please do me a huge favor. You made it this far, so you must have liked it. You must like my content. Click that like and subscribe buttons below. I really appreciate all of your support. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and as always, good luck trading.